Have you ever thought about how a food system would work in a world where half the population are the main food source of the other? Hi, hello, and welcome to the video. My name's Danny May, and this is Overthinking Anime, where we overthink all things anime, manga, and otaku related. And today, I want to talk about the introduction of the cafeteria within Beastars. During this scene, we're introduced to the food system within the Beastars world, explaining how carnivores still get the sufficient nutrients they need to survive without eating meat, which is done through the consumption of soy-based products. So does that mean the entire world of Beastars are betas? That's such a dumb joke. Oh, such a dumb joke. Which is done through the consumption of soy-based products and creates an interesting thought experiment for the world of Beastars. Unlike in our world, the Beastars world has no need for grazing fields or large pastures because the herbivore livestock, quote-unquote, simply goes to the store to get their food. Therefore, there would be large plots of the world empty, free for farming grounds to be used for growing plants and vegetables, including soy. However, back to the actual cafeteria, where they're serving scrambled eggs. And even though, on one hand, this is weird as hell, I love the fact that in the Beastars universe, this exists, because within the Beastars universe, it does make complete sense. Doesn't make it any less weird, though. However, considering Paru dedicates an entire chapter to eggs, I'll wait until then to talk more about this subject because I have a lot to say about that. Also, tofu donuts sound interesting, so I looked them up. And I don't know why I was expecting them to look like ringed donuts, but they're more donut balls. Even so, I so want to try them. I'm expecting them to taste like fluffy dangos, as well as showing us how the different size students coexist, with an entire shelf section being dedicated to the tiny student. This is almost one-to-one to the manga. The only real difference in the manga version is it's unclear whether there's a kitchen window on the tiny student deck. I believe there is. If you look at the shot, it kind of looks like it, but it's unclear, whereas in the manga version, it's very clear. Let's also call out the fact that Studio Orange created all these separate character models where none of them are copy-pasted versions of one another. And speaking of the animation team, I owe Studio Orange and Yoshihiro Watanabe an apology. In the first episode of the series, I said Studio Orange created Black Bullet and filled a quarter of the first episode with unnecessary exposition. This is true. A quarter of the first episode of Black Bullet is filled with completely unnecessary exposition. However, it was not Studio Orange that made Black Bullet. While Studio Orange did work on Black Bullet, their involvement was creating background animation and certain character models. So, Studio Orange, Watanabe, sincerely, I'm sorry. I was misinformed, and I was wrong, and I spread misinformation. I am legitimately sorry about that. You're an amazing studio, and I don't have anything negative to say about you guys. At least to my knowledge. To the public knowledge, you're an amazing studio. Also, while we're on the subject, I don't think Black Bullet is a bad series. I don't think it's a great series, but it's a watchable series. It's enjoyable. I just despise unnecessary exposition. That being said, and I know I'm going on a tangent, I'll get back to Beastars in a second. This is an important subject. I understand why exposition is often necessary. In a lot of cases, animation teams are only given 12 episodes, around 240 minutes worth of runtime, to tell a much longer story. So sometimes exposition is the only choice. That's fine, and I get it. What I despise, though, is when a series expositions something that is very clearly obvious, or something the watcher will naturally learn by watching the series. In that situation, no, you don't get a pass. Which, in all fairness, this episode of Beastars actually does do. Jack, I believe, I'm not sure who the monologuing voice, I think it's Jack's voice, but Jack monologues to the watcher in a voiceover about the rules of the school and the rules about eating. However, this is an interesting use of exposition, because on one hand, it's helpful to know. However, in telling us, it becomes exposition that is unnecessary. But on the other hand, or poor, I guess. Poor? It's a figure of speech, whatever. Not knowing this wouldn't hurt the overall story. It's kind of a catch-22. Like, knowing it is not necessary, but not knowing it is also not necessary. It's kind of complicated. But, moving on. We're also shown that smaller students can all too easily get stepped on. Which makes me wonder, how seriously injured would a small creature get? eggs. Later on in the series, it's explained that in the Beastars world, they have advanced medical techniques, but what happens if an elephant steps on a chipmunk? I mean, I think we all know the answer. Squash. That's the end of chipmunk. But would this elephant then be, like, imprisoned? Even if it was an accident? Constructs and discussions. Who knows? The next scene shows Legoshi's meal, though. And this really stuck out to me because I love scrambled eggs and I've spent years perfecting my scrambled eggs. And I guess it can be written up to, it's a cafeteria, so the food is made in bulk and kept warm in trays off of the stove. But, look how watery those eggs are. Maybe it's just Legoshi's saliva. But if not, those eggs were not properly made. Good colour to the eggs though, but even so, those eggs were not properly made. And there's milk as well on the tray. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I'll talk much more about later in the series because for those of you who have read the manga beyond the end of season 2, you know where that's going. The scene also introduces us to what the Beastar is, which kind of, sort of. It's complicated. So at this point in the series, the Beastar is a character that excels above all other students within Cherrington Academy and unites all the races. However, later on in the series, it comes to mean something completely different. So, yeah, like, it's... As of now, as of those first few chapters, volumes, like season 1, that is what the Beastars means. However, later on it doesn't mean it, so to say it does actually teach us about what the Beastar is kind of a half-truth because later on it gets changed, but at the current time it's true. But it does also inform us that Louis is reaching for that title, as well as raising the question of why the world needs the Beastar, which is a legitimately valid question. While I'll go much more into it in a later episode, the reality of the Beastars world is half the population is always at risk of being devoured. Hell, even carnivores could be devoured by another carnivore, which is something that is explored later on in the series. So, having a student who everyone respects and is able to bring both sides to a harmonious life is an important position to exist in the world of Beastars. I also want to call out the fact that you can see the faded dark rings around Legoshi's eyes to show he didn't get enough sleep last night. It's a little thing, but it adds so much to the scene. Also, the different sizes syncs with mirrors, as well as the vending machines visible. This scene is so beautiful. In fact, as always, I'm making a series on it. That's how beautiful it is. But yeah, the next scene, we're looking at Louis' Pride, and you can watch it right now by clicking this link here to see the parallels between Adler and the story of Beastars. Enjoy!